Welcome back, everybody, to another live roundtable discussion right here in our studios from Inside Out. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do very much appreciate it, as you all know. As you guys can see in the title description, we're going to be talking about something that's all over everything, including all our major news outlets. And I can tell you right now, there's a lot of very unhappy certain individuals. And we're going to break down all the details right here live tonight with your host, Jay from Inside Out. With that said, let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to another live edition of our roundtable. As mentioned before, I'm your host, Jay. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do very much appreciate it. And as you guys can see, we got a lot of drastic changes and a lot of updates and whatnot to share with you guys tonight, including a very interesting topic / subject matter that is going on all over the place, trending and going viral and all of that. And man, it's a big mess nonetheless. And of course, obviously, there's a certain community that's not very happy. And we're going to get into that right now. So, of course, I'm going to get in the chat real quick before we start. Welcome in, everybody. It's great to see you guys. I appreciate your guys' love and support and respect. Man, that's just awesome. Anyways, I say to all you, welcome in, everyone. Absolutely. We got Redeeming. What's going on, my man? Thank you so much for being here. And like I said, I hope you're doing good over there in your neck of the woods. Good to see you, brother. All right, we got Cynthia. What's up, Cynthia? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you two always. As you know, a lot of things have changed, as you can see probably on my podcast and all that, and we're going to get into some of the details of that here shortly, so stay tuned for that. Of course, we got Texas Mom also in here. What's up, Texas Mom? Thank you so much for being here, too, and I got an update for you, too, as well, and hope you guys can bear with me on that. All right. Also in the chat, we got Vicky. What's going on, Vicky? Again, thank you so much for being here. I do very much appreciate you two always as well. And I hope you are doing good in your neck of the woods and all of that. So good to see you nonetheless. And then, of course, Texas Mom, how are you all tonight? Absolutely. And I, of course, got back in here before the live got lived. And I said, what's up, everyone? And yep, that is what is going on. And again, Texas Mom gets in here and says, how are you? And then what's your tattoo? Oh, a good point. It's I don't know how I'm going to show you guys. It's a skull. I can't, I'm trying, you guys. I'm trying to show you. Anyways, it's a skull with a flame and a sword going through the skull. I tried to show you guys. I'll take a better picture with it. With that, Redeeming said this, sleeping because of weather. Yeah, I understand that. And it's actually been warmer here now. So thank God the cold part of it's over. But it's kind of nice to get out of the cold weather. We're not so cold anymore. And yes, all the snow has melted. With that. All right. With that, as you guys can see, we got a very interesting topic for you guys tonight. Our co-host Tammy will be in here a little bit later. She's got an important phone call that she's dealing with right now. So she will come in a little bit later for the show. All right. So just bear with me on that. Plus, before I get into the subject matter, I felt it was necessary to give you guys a respectful update of what's going on if you guys have been seeing and paying attention to my channel as of late. I'm not going to show you the details on the screen because if you've been over there, you already know. So I want to update you because I think it's fair and also, like I said, respectful that you guys understand so there's nobody in the dark and all of that. As you guys know, a lot of changes have happened in the last few days. And certain platforms have been taken down. I no longer belong to a platform. So Texas Mom, if you're wondering where the heck I went, it is what it is. So I'm sorry that I'm not involved anymore over there. So it is what it is. It's not my first rodeo and I will not apologize for it. I'm not going to give this guy any credit where he thinks it's due because he wants to act like a superhero in a sense. So with that, as you guys know, there was a certain platform shut down, and I no longer belong to that certain platform because he's a superhero and he wants to do this thing called kid safety or kid protection, which is nonsense. There's no such thing. It's proven that there is no such thing. And he's talking about policies under that platform. And I want you guys to understand that there's no, keep in mind before, the chat blows up, I want you guys to know, and this is facts, policy, whether he says it or not, policy is not law, for the record. Okay, guys, I just want to be clear with you guys. Policy isn't law. Okay, so for example, as mentioned before, there's policies, rules, regulations, and so forth down here. And then you got laws about right here. And then you got the Constitution right here. And if I want to get even more detailed, then you got our good Lord Jesus Christ up here. You see what I'm doing? So keep in mind that even the Constitution is down here, and our good Lord and all that is up here. So technically there is something above the Constitution, but that don't get talked about much. But for tonight, anyways, the Constitution's here, laws, rules, policies, regulations, and so forth, et cetera, are all down here. So in other words, what he did, I don't have any respect for Mark Zuckerberg. I can't stand Facebook as a whole anyways. Facebook is garbage, and so is Mark Zuckerberg. And, it is what it is. So nonetheless, I got other platforms that I belong to. And keep in mind, he's going to do his due diligence, according to him, to try to get me shut down over there too as well. But that doesn't silence me. All right. So it is what it is. But there's your updates. There's a massive amount of drama going down. And I'm doing my part to put the truth out there because he's too cowardly is the word I guess I'm looking for, not to put the truth out there. All right. So it is what it is. All right. And looks like we have Redeeming gets in here and says this real quick. Hopefully it doesn't come back in Texas or Florida. Talking about the weather. Yeah, I can't really deal with any more cold weather, but it's still winter. But spring is on its way, guys. Texas Mom gets in here and says, it's been raining all day here. I was staring out my window at work and getting so sleepy. Yeah, I totally understand that. We were supposed to, I guess, have rain here too, but unfortunately it didn't show up. And then Texas Mom says, it's okay. I understand. Okay, cool. So anyways, we're still here. We're still plugging away, and we're doing what we got to deal with. So always know facts always beat hype, and truth does too. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the details and facts of tonight. I'm going to do a share screen, and we're going to be talking about the things in hand. And if, Tammy, you are in here and you come in here earlier or a little bit later, I'll get you in here once I'm done doing share screen. All right, just for Tammy's information. Where's my share screen? There it is. All right, so let me go ahead and get this started real quick, and I'm going to show you guys the first thing that I believe is important for all you guys to know and be educated on. Here's what I'm talking about. I hope you guys can see this, and if not, let me know in the chat, and I will do I'll do what I can to zoom in, bigger so you guys can see it. But as you guys can see, here it is, and this is thanks to Trump. Now, you guys have your opinions and whatnot with Trump. I get it. It is what it is. I'm not trying to get political here, but important information is important information. So understand that. All right. It says the title, Transgender Inmate Sues Over Trump's Ordering Curtailing LGBTQ Rights. And I knew this was going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and get into the article and briefly go through this. Again, this is not, this has not and will not and has not made the transgender community very happy. All right. So, and of course, I have a sibling who is under this category. So don't be surprised if my sibling doesn't get involved either. All right. So here's some contents for you guys, and I'm going to do what I can to highlight it. And I don't know why my highlighter is not working right now. Anyways, U.S. President Donald Trump signs documents. He has issued executive orders to pardons for January 6th defendants in the Oval Office. Yes, we're aware of that. Okay. And it says here, continuing White House on inaugural day in Washington, U.S. January 20th, 2025, and so forth on that one. That's what he's doing there, I believe. But for tonight, we're going to be talking about this, and I don't know why I can't highlight that. It's very awkward. Interesting. Anyways, all credit, I forgot to say this, guys. All credit goes to, who is this from? How come it's not showing the title? I hope you guys can see this. This page isn't showing down Firefox to speed up your browser. Stop this page. I'm not going to. Anyways, guys, all credit goes to this page here. All of this information, by the way, guys, is in the description, so I'm not hiding anything. Anyways, I want to give credit. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. It's from the Retruters. All right. Anyways, this is what Trump said. Summary. Trump says he is targeting gender ideology extremism. His order recognizes two distinct sexes, male and female. Okay, which in a sense, I agree. All right, so this is going to cause some issues. Suit is filed in Boston by transgender prison inmate. So it's already started, guys. Told you. Boston, January 27th, says this. A transgender woman serving in federal prison has filed a lawsuit arguing that President Donald Trump's order directing the U.S. government to recognize only two what does that say? Changeable sexes and requiring inmates like her to be housed in men's prisons violates the U.S. Constitution and federal law. All right, so pay attention to that. All right, in a lawsuit filed on Sunday. All right, I hope you guys can pay attention to this. Hey, what's up, Trey? Thank you so much for being here. In a lawsuit filed on Sunday in Boston federal court, the inmate, who is being represented by lawyers at rights groups including GLBTQ, legal advocates, and defenders, took aim at an order Trump signed on his first day back in office on January 20th, targeting what he called gender ideology extreme. All right, there you guys go. And of course, there's more information here. Where is it going? Oh, looks like that's it. All right, so we're going to come back into the studio real quick and open this up. I hope you guys appreciate it nonetheless. And then let's see, where did I get? Let me see, I am missing some chat here. Trey. Okay, what's up, Trey? Trey's in here. He said sup. And then Texas Mom said, "Hey Trey, anyways, welcome in, Trey. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate it." Vicky said this. I did also. She has passed now. I don't know why people can't let other people be, or people be happy. Yeah, I agree. It's amazing how certain things become popular in a sense and all of that. So this is going to turn out interesting. And I'll keep you guys updated on what happens with the lawsuit, all this bull crap. And don't be surprised, my locked up loved one could very well get involved in this too. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated. Trey said this. I agree with gender separation, but trans need their own facilities and safety. That I will agree with. Because we have the money, we have the funds, it's there. Don't get me wrong. We can build, special housing units, as they called, or special prisons for that breed of people. Does that make sense? So I totally agree. We need to do separation. Transgender individuals, in a sense, do not belong in men's prisons, because obviously, look what it's causing. My locked up loved one can confirm that it happened to her. You know what I mean? So it does happen. It does exist. And because what happened to her, she sued and won. Yeah, absolutely. It's unexcusable for that type of action to take place. So you're completely correct, Trey. And thank you for your comment. So as you guys can see, we're dealing with a big mess. And of course, I am going to open this up for you guys too to get in here and talk about it. And I got more information to share on the screen with this matter. And I knew exactly, like all of you, as mentioned before, I knew this was going to cause a major problem. And we're definitely going to share it and get into it with you guys with that. So back to the data real quick, and keep you guys' comments going. And again, if my co-host Tammy, for whatever reason, can't come in here, if there's anybody else that wants to come in here live and chit chat and do this podcast with me on a live note and get on panel, you're more than welcome to do that. It's there. And the link is in the pin chat. We got, let me see who this is real quick. We got Chandra. Thank you so much for being here, Chandra. I appreciate you. She said this. I'm a formerly incarcerated journalist. Oh, that's awesome. We need more people like you. Can we talk about your low and what happened? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely we can. I don't know if you want to do it tonight or maybe another night. If you want to schedule it in, we can make that happen if need be. So absolutely. And again, welcome in, Chandra. I hope I said that name right. And thank you so much for being here. And oh, by the way, thank you for, being who you are and being a journalist too, because I got a lot of respect for journalists. It's a dirty job, like what I do, and it's very nerve wracking. So yeah, she says I follow you. She's got back in here, says I follow you, and so DM me. Absolutely, no problem. And she also got in here and said, thanks, glad to be here. Absolutely. So with that, let's go ahead and get back into some of the data tonight for this subject matter or topic. And I hope you guys appreciate it because it's very concerning and it's going to cause a lot of issues, as you guys know. She said, you're one too. And I'm assuming you're talking about journalists. In my own right, yes. I don't belong to like any big organization and whatnot, but I got into this, this prison activist stuff, which is technically journalism. I speak on the corruption and all that within our prisons. I've been doing this for 6 years, and I have an LLC and all of that. So in a sense, I am legit. Under the First Amendment to the Constitution, it's considered free press, so I can be that. So yes, you are correct. And she got back in here and said this real quick, journalist. So yeah, absolutely. Everybody has a right to be a journalist under the First Amendment of the Constitution. So yeah, I totally understand what she's saying there. Real quick before we do the data showing, Trey got in here, said this. Not wanting trans women to suffer with cis men or women to suffer from trans women. If we lock them up, we need to grant everyone equal protections. Yes, because again, due to the Constitution and other laws and whatnot, inmates are supposed to be protected, right? And the policies, certain kinds of abuse is not tolerated in prison, as you guys know, and happens all the time. My locked up loved ones, walking, talking proof of that. And all of that. So nonetheless, it's there. So thank you so much, Trey. I agree with what you said there. And again, one more time, Chanja got in here and said this. I know, been following you. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing that. And I think I follow you back. So tit for tat. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the share screen real quick. Let me get that settings up again. And I think I have a video clip, courtesy and whatnot from my friend Tammy for showing that and sending that information to me. So with that, let's go ahead and get into data share here tonight. Where is it? Oops, wrong one. All right. Here you guys go. And of course, this is the situation. I hope you guys can see this nonetheless. And I'll get back in the chat in just a second, guys. I appreciate you guys being here. All right. I don't know why my chat's messing up now. Vicky said most definitely. Okay, fair enough. Thank you guys so much for being here. It says this in the article, and I'll go ahead and see if I can highlight it. Oh, I can highlight it here. Okay, that's interesting. I couldn't do it on the other one. Anyways, 1 second. All credit goes to the Marshall Project. This is also in the description of the video tonight, guys. So I'm going to make this zoom in there. All right. Among the dozens, let me just highlight this, guys, so you guys can see. All right. Oops. Stop it. All right. Anyways, among the dozens of executive orders that President Donald Trump signed on his first day in office for his second term, one targets transgender people incarcerated in the federal prison system. Now, keep in mind, just so for some information for you guys, my locked up loved one's not in federal. Okay. Not in federal. It's state. But I'm thinking that just because it's state, not federal, I think she still has a chance. We'll keep you guys updated on that anyways. The order defending, let me do this right. Anyways, the order defending women from gender ideology extreme and restoring biological truth to the federal government was fundamentally an attack on transgender people. All right. And technically, to be honest with you guys, it is. All right. Arguing that ideologies who deny the biological reality of the three-letter word there have increasingly used legal and other socially coercive means to permit men to self-identify as women and vice versa and gain access to inmate single three-letter word. I don't know if I can say that here for YouTube standards, but anyways, I'm trying to keep it clean. Spaces and activities designed for women. All right. Now, there's some things I agree and disagree here, but it is what it is. We'll touch more base on it here in just a second. Um, but anyways, the order instructed the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security, of all people, to ensure that the males are not denied in women's prisons. All right. So there you go. And of course, guys, I'm not going to read this whole thing. You guys know it's all there. There it is in its entirety. So again, not a lot of happy campers when it comes to transgender communities and all that. But let's get back into the studio and get into your guys' comments. And it says here, coming in from Chandra, she said this. And of course, you guys are probably not going to see some of these chats because she's on X. All right. Anyways, the real problem is, and okay, we got our co-host Tammy coming in here now. Thank you very much. All right, welcome to the show, Tammy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Sorry about that. I had some technical issues. I guess they're having blips from this big outage we had down here. Our whole town
Oh,
and some surrounding
that's not
houses.
good. That's not good.
Yeah, it was everybody's service,
Mhm.
like AT&T,
Mhm.
Verizon,
Okay.
Cricket, uh, T-Mobile. I'm T-Mobile,
Yeah,
and
me too.
just everybody. They couldn't even run at the restaurants and stores. Couldn't even run their cards.
Oh, wow.
Everything was cash.
Damn, that sucks. Well, anyway, sorry to hear all that bad news. Well, I'm surprised with.
It's
But
okay.
anyways, welcome in, Tammy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys
Well,
tonight?
we're hanging in there despite all the interesting drama and bullcrap. At the beginning, I told everybody the update what's going on with me and social media and all that fun jazz. But nonetheless, I updated them. So, and you're aware of it because I told you kind of behind the scenes. So, yeah, it's a never ending. But anyways, welcome in. And so, real quick before we go any further with this, I got a question for you, as I always do for you to get involved. What do you think about this topic slash subject matter tonight? If I can get your input on it, because obviously it's already, as you can see, caused lawsuits and whatnot. So, what's your take on this mess?
Okay, so me personally, okay, like if it was my loved one in
Mm-hmm.
there, which my loved one
Mm-hmm.
is what they call, I guess, cisgender or straight or whatever
Hey,
have you.
Bert.
If it was like my child or another loved one, wouldn't matter
Mm-hmm.
who, and they had transitioned over physically had already transitioned over.
Mm-hmm.
Pipes go with the prisons, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. I think once their body part has shifted over to the other
Mm-hmm.
gender, I think we just about have to put them with the gender that they have switched over
Mm-hmm.
to. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do as life evolves down the
Mm-hmm.
road, because we have these non-binary, we have so many different classifications of people. We can't even keep up with our male and female prisons.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we going to navigate this new world that we're all living
Right.
in? I mean, I grew up old school. There was male and female, and we knew the male and females that liked the same sex. So I mean, we didn't really, me personally, I never judged anybody about anything because I was raised, especially my father was very, hey, you don't judge people.
Mm-hmm.
That what they do is their business, and if it is if it's affecting me, then that's different. If what they're doing, their interaction is directly affecting me as a person,
Correct.
then yes, I have a right to say something. But if what they're doing, it's nobody's
Mm-hmm.
business what they do. But when we go
Yeah.
into a prison situation, then we have to be very cautious, because if you put a female in with men and she's not pipes, you got a problem.
Right.
you got a real friggin' bad situation on your
Oh, I
hands.
agree. I 100% agree with you. Absolutely. And as you guys can see in the chat, the boss is in. Welcome in, boss. She said this more to life than worry about this drama, LOL. And yeah, I get it. It is drama in a sense. But again, people are, as you guys can see, whether it is drama or not, people are capitalizing off of it. And now there's lawsuits and all of that. So, it never seems to fail. There's always that opportunity as much as,
Hi, boss. I get
yeah,
you, and I agree with that to a degree. But
yeah.
the problem is,
Hi,
like,
Destiny.
for the rest of us, I really don't want a female in a male prison with my husband.
I get it.
I mean, you have that side of the
Mhm.
fence
Yeah,
too.
I get it.
And it's not even about him, it just puts them in jeopardy if
Hi,
they
Orphan.
make use of
Thank you so much for
something.
being here, Orphan. And we have Bert. Bert, hey, what's up, Bert? Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, you're right, Tammy. I mean, that's why this thing is.
Hi, Destiny. See you,
Yeah,
babe.
there's always going to be a controversial situation when it comes to this. And I never thought in my life or in my, well, yeah, in my life that I would be even seen, hearing, or talking about this. I never thought this stuff existed until now. It's just weird. But I've had.
Well, it existed in the 60s. It was called hippies.
Okay, fair enough. I get it.
We just called it, it was labeled something different and they weren't as out there. Well, the hippies were out there with
Mhm.
it, but our parents weren't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It's
Yeah.
just, and it's the same thing. We had a conversation, me and some other people
Mhm.
today, concerning the
Mhm.
guards being in the opposite prison. It just, we got to change something.
Mhm.
You know,
Well,
thank you, Annie. Uh, she said she's got a project going on, but she's listening to us in the
okay,
background.
that's
So
cool.
if she's not typing in the chat, they're listening. My niece does the same
Okay,
thing.
no, I
Destiny.
respect that absolutely. So I've already did.
I love all of you
I've
guys.
already
I just
done
want to say that.
right. And for the record, Tammy, sorry to cut you off again. Again, there's always a time delay there. But anyways, with that,
That's okay.
I wanted to let you know that I already did two pieces of data. We can go through them again if you want, but I'm going to do the.
Nah, it's
I'm going
okay.
to do the AP one if you wanted to, if you have it with you and pull it up. And then that's the
I
last
got
one.
you
And then
pulled
we
up.
can open this for debate for everybody in the chat if that's what you want to do. But this is
That's
very
fine.
important anyways. But let's go ahead and do the share screen. Again, this is coming from all credit, guys, to the AP. And again, for the record, if you guys must know, for the record, the all of the information that you're seeing and reading off here tonight is in the description of this video. So again, if you want to see it in more entirety in your own leisure time, you have that option. Go over there in the description and click on those links. Anyways, with that, let's do the share screen and get the thing up. Here it is. And again, Tammy, if you want to, you can. If you want, read off all of this and go from there.
Sure, I sure can. So President Donald Trump signed on his first day back in office offers a new federal government definition of the sexes that could have a major impact on transgender people nationwide. The order calls for the federal government to define sex as only male and female, and for that to be reflected on an official documents such as passports and policies such as federal prison assignments. As for spending, it's not clear what his vow to end broader gender classifications will mean on the ground. Many of the provisions are likely to be challenged in court. Here's a look at the order. So, the order itself is declares that there are just two sexes, male and female. It rejects that people can transition from one gender to another or be considered something other than male or female, such as non binary, which describes people who don't identify strictly as men or women or intersex. The position reflects that what many social conservatives have called for and conflicts with what the American Medical Association and other mainstream medical groups say that extensive scientific research suggests sex and gender are better understood as a spectrum than as a either or definition. Trump's order says that it is intended to protect women's spaces from those who self identify as women. It defines the sexes as in an unconventional way based on the reproductive cells, large cells in females and small ones in males, and it suggests that humans have those cells at conception. Biologists say that's a problem because egg cells develop many weeks later and sperm cells are produced at puberty, not at conception. At that age, sexual differentiation has not started to take place, said Carl Bergstrom, a University of Washington evolutionary biologist. I can't see any logically coherent way to interpret the definition in an executive order given the addition of the phrase at conception. Bergstrom said a scientific explanation could specify sex chromosomes, but the executive order seems to deliberately avoid that, presumably to sidestep the range of variations that include intersex people who have physical traits that don't fit typical definitions for male or female categories. Now, I'm going to stop right there for a
Okay.
second. I want to say this. We all know that there are people that are born with both male and female biology.
Correct.
And we all know, because I'm a woman and I've gone through menopause, so I will say this, there are some of us women that carry more male genes than female genes in our body, hormones. And there are some men that carry more female than male genes.
Interesting.
I want to say that too as well.
Interesting.
So that is an introspective way to look at it as well. I'm not getting political one way for or against what Trump is doing. I'm just trying to put some facts out there. So anyway, he said nothing is in effect, said Heron Greensmith, Deputy Director of Policy at the Transgender Law Center. The executive order tells one White House have to bill for Congress within 30 days that would codify the definitions into law. Federal agencies must tell the president within 120 days what they've done to comply with the order. Some parts might require going through regulatory process or passing new laws. Omar Gonzalez Pagan, a Lambda legal lawyer, said on a call with journalists this week that the order does not change current law, but rather creates a clear signal and roadmap of where this administration's policies lie when it comes to transgender people. State laws on participation in sports, bathroom use, gender affirming care, and other issues are not directly affected. What does it mean for federally issued documents? The order calls for passports, visas, and global entry cards to reflect the administration's definitions of sex. So basically, when it comes down to it, any federal document, they're going to say you have to say you're male or female based on what you were born with, gender wise.
Wow. Very interesting.
So the State Department is responsible for passports decline to answer questions about the current state of the policy. The order suggests getting rid of the X designation that has been available on passports since 2021 after a long legal battle waged by an intersex activist. A department webpage that described how people could change their gender marker was taken offline, and Chase Strangio, an ACL lawyer, said that it's unlikely that any new application to change the gender marker on a passport would be approved. A spokesperson told the news outlet Notice this week that passports that have not expired will remain valid, but people will have to comply with the new order when they apply for a new passport or renew an old one. So now we're going to get to the prison stuff. So, what about
Yeah.
transgender prison inmates? The order contains specific details on how it would apply in federal prisons, which house nearly 2,300 transgender inmates, about 1.5% of the total population. It calls for housing transgender women. There are more than 1,500 in men's prisons, and for halting gender affirming medical care. At least two transgender inmates have had government funded gender affirming surgery in recent years as a result of court orders. A larger number have received other treatments, such as hormones. Sarah Warbelow, legal director at Human Rights Campaign, said court orders that grant inmates' access to treatment remain in effect even if federal policy changes. The ACLU says it's heard from some defense lawyers that incarcerated transgender women were being moved into isolation or being told they would be transferred to men's prisons. The Bureau of Prisons did not respond to questions about whether inmates are to be moved. Of course, they didn't.
Imagine that.
So, and then we go into the Medicaid and things. You guys can read further into this. I don't want to
Yeah,
stop us from having too much of a chat. I'm
that's
just
okay.
going to say this. You know what
I'll
I
come back.
see
I'll come
here?
back in the studio.
What I see is a lot of my tax money going into legal battles.
Yeah.
That's what I see. When we should be addressing real issues with real problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you going to do with the 13 corrections officers that unalived a man because his skin color wasn't theirs? What are we going to do with that? That
Right.
seems like a priority to me. What are we
Right.
going to do with staff that is going in with K2
Yeah.
laced with fentanyl
And that's
that
funny because
is running rampant? Oh, we're touching government money now. Sorry, but I want to
right.
know, why aren't
Right.
we
And
addressing that issue?
that's funny how certain issues get more attention than the others. And you would think, obviously, we know, and have been proved here tonight, or not tonight, but it's been proved on this podcast that we have a problem with K2 and other drugs that don't get addressed. Carry on.
No, you're good, Trey. I agree with you personally. Religiously, for me, it's
Mhm.
different. But let me say this: I have a daughter that is transitioning. I had a girl she was a daughter her whole life.
Mhm.
Now she is a he and is addressed as such because that's what he wants.
Mhm.
And I have to let God handle the rest.
Amen. I
And
mean,
that's how I treat everybody in every walk of life, whether I believe it for myself. I have to
nicely
handle
put.
myself with God. I don't
Right.
have to handle my daughter turned son issue with God or
Mhm.
what other people see them as. And I at the root of the at the end of the day, we're all human beings.
Right.
No matter what. We can't not get away from that part of
Correct.
this thing that it
And
is.
and if I may, real quick, Bert, my friend Bert, is in here, and he said, "How can women change and be a man?" Let's see. It's pretty much simple, my friend. All you got to do is go to the hospital and get your certain areas. If you know what I'm talking about, certain areas cut and tucked, and you no longer have male appendages, I think it's called, or male genitalia. It turns into a female. That it's very interesting how they construct that. Basically, they take off everything that represents you as being a male and turn it to, a female down there, if that makes sense. And I got to try to keep it clean because of YouTube situations and whatnot. But I hope I answered your question. And Texas Mom said this: breast removal and maybe pumps. But I get it. And again, to clarify, actually, it's under the knife. They go in there, and my locked up low one actually, guys, is scheduled to have that done here whenever. I don't know the date and time or whatnot, but it's scheduled, and that's coming up next. So yeah, I will no longer technically have what I used to have. I will now have a sister. Anyways, I
Well,
hope that makes sense.
basically, Bert, what it is extreme plastic surgery,
Yep.
medical surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, listen, it is what it is, and the world is different now.
Good point, Trey. Absolutely. Uh, and it says here, let me see what Bert said, but they can't have offspring. No, they can't go through a lot of the quote unquote women's experiences, like menstrual cycle, pregnancy, and stuff of that nature. That's the only side they won't
Well,
experience. Am I
well,
wrong?
now they have all kinds of stuff, but I mean, I'm sure they'll come to that eventually at some point too.
Okay. Well,
I
I'm just,
have actually seen where they have grown fetuses outside of the body and
yeah.
encapsulated like
Yeah.
a bag that's
Yeah.
almost like the womb.
And the boss lady said this. I agree. God is number one. Absolutely. Amen. I agree with her on that 100%. Absolutely. And she also said, he will handle the rest. Absolutely. I agree. I don't know if, like I said, I'm a Christian, and I will say this from a Christian based aspect. I hope I don't piss anybody off here. Excuse my French. But I don't think this is, Christian or godly. Is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know if God approves this because God made you. You guys understand that, right? God made you for what you were supposed to be on that aspect. And when you got to go in there and, in a sense, physically change your appearance from what you were to what you think in your mind that you're supposed to be, I think that's kind of going against our good Lord upstairs. What do you think on that, Tammy? Am I right or wrong?
I'm going to kind of plead the fifth on that. Listen, this is my thing with that. It also says in the Bible, be judged lest ye be judged. It's not our job to decide if it's right or wrong or what God says. That's not up to us. And I
No,
hate
I
to
understand.
I get what you're saying, and I'm just going to play the devil's advocate here on that. The same
No
could be
issues.
said for piercing your body up. The same thing could be said for tattoos
Yeah,
and
yeah,
for
correct. A
any kind
tattoo I
of
have.
dyeing your hair,
You're not supposed to tattoo yourself.
wearing
I know.
doing permanent makeup. I mean,
Mhm.
there is a whole slew of things we could get into about defacing our bodies in different ways or living
Mhm. I
in
agree.
sin. Or
I
I
agree.
don't think there is one person. Remember, we're all born of sin. So
Oh, absolutely.
it's up to God to judge that, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
it is only my opinion. It's
Yeah.
up to Him to decide. What my concern is, as far as the prison aspect of this, is the safety of every human life in there.
Mhm.
If they put women, people that have transitioned to be women, whether they, it's a hard toss because I have heard even in TDCJ here in Texas, there are
Mhm.
certain units that there is a high, I don't know, I don't even know the proper labels. Male
Good night,
and
Bert. Thank you so
male
much for being here, Bert. Good
relationships,
night.
male and male relationships. Good night,
Mhm.
Bert. Um, and they gang up on people,
Yeah.
the booty
Well,
bandits, whatever, that the stuff like that that will go on to these
mhm.
men that have mentally and emotionally into female. I have a feeling that they're going to get abused in some units. I think we're going to see a lot more SAs happen and
Oh
PREA
yeah.
violations.
Oh yeah.
If
You're
they do
correct.
that,
Yeah,
I think we're going to have
absolutely.
a problem.
And absolutely. And if you guys remember, I did an actual short video on this and explaining that I believe that when it comes to male and female COs, I think the female COs should work only in the female prisons and the male COs should work in the male facilities. But we actually have that mixed right now. There's male and females working in both genders, and obviously, as you guys can see, it causes problems with that too as well. So this makes a great talking point argument that we have this issue, and then of course on top of that we have other issues, ladies and gentlemen, under the same scenario. So it can go all around the bush, if that makes sense. And I totally agree with everybody's saying here. I get it, and unfortunately, we have we have issues clear across the board, and now here's another one to add to the list. But you're right, Tammy. I agree with what you're saying. Carry on.
Well, I'm just saying, one way or another, and I kind of agree with, I think it's Trey that just had that up there about it should be on the government to spend the money to do what they need to do. I
Mhm.
mean, they are encased in the, they're there to protect the welfare of not only the people on the outside, but the people that are in the walls and behind the bars. You know, this is just one more complication we didn't need as advocates to have to worry about it. They have a duty that people keep safe. I agree.
Absolutely. I agree
with you totally.
I agree. But they don't. They don't follow. Listen, guys, they don't even follow their own policies. I mean, look what happened to my locked up loved one.
Yeah, and that's
So,
the whole thing. That's the whole thing, though, that concerns me is that we're going to see a lot more violence over this and a lot more essays and things like that. On top of the fact that they're not even thinking about their own people that they hire to work in the system, because it's going to put them at risk for being accused of assaults and bias and things, and it's going to cause some issues there as well.
Sure. I agree. And Vicky says, I agree with Jay. Yeah. And again, I agree with all of you. It's just not me. It's not a compete thing. I agree with all of you. And of course, if I do disagree, I'll let you guys know. But you're spot on, Tammy. Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns under this topic or subject matter? Put it in the chat, please, now, and we'll go from there. Trying to think what we got going
I know
on here.
this was a very tough subject matter to get on, but I know there was a lot of people that are concerned about how this is going to affect their loved ones that are in the system. And listen, my love for my now son is that love is like untainted. It's pure love. That is my child, no matter what, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I had to learn to live with that and get that.
Right. And the comment you can see here, Cynthia was saying that her Cynthia's son's in prison, as some of you may know. And I'll go up to it. This is what she said before this one. She said, Cynthia said this: I was in shock when my son told me about how some of the inmates look with actual, breast. Yeah. It took me a while to digest it too when I first saw my locked up low one. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. But and then she said this in the chat. She goes, I thought he was joking, but he was serious. Yeah, they're in there.
Yeah, they are.
And then when it happens, they get SA'd because these men are wired differently and think differently. And that's when they're looking, men are men, men are visual. And once they see that, that's what causes, SA assaults, because they are in there and they haven't been with any woman or whatever you want to call it for a long time. So it's an attraction. It causes problems. And we hit on it tonight. Absolutely. And those people that have body changes need to be separated from the men. So no more SA can happen. I agree. And Texas Mom says, yes, yes, absolutely. So let's see, what time do we have? Well, we got quite a bit of time. Is there anything that you wanted to bring up and ask Tammy real quick while we're doing this? Did I lose you?
I muted myself.
Oh, I didn't even know that. No, you're good. Go ahead. Take it away.
Here's the thing. We have so many issues here in Texas with different things. This K2 issue and the staff and who they're hiring and how they're hiring them, and the reason that they don't do the training that they need to have and all of that. They're short staffed, locking inmates up on lockdown. They don't get to go out when they're supposed to, violating their rights. All of this, like, why is it so hard for the world to figure out that we need a different method? What we're doing isn't working. It's broken.
No,
it's broken.
It's majorly broken. But again, the reason why it's continuing the way it is right now, because again, on the backside of it, whether this is something that people don't want to hear or not, it's because it's money. There's money in this, and lots of it. Why get rid of something if it's working? It's working, even though it's wrong. It's working for the money makers.
But
Um,
people are disposable, and I don't know how to get other people to realize that that means that we're all disposable in that 1%er's eyes
yeah,
of the
and if I
people that are
may,
running this
yeah,
corruption. We
yeah,
are
correct.
we
Mhm,
are really
mhm.
royally screwed.
Yeah, and if I may jump in here real quick, Cynthia said this: imagine shower time. That's just not right. Okay, some information update for you on that. In my locked up one prison, now I don't know if they're all doing it in all prisons in the states, but I can guarantee you what happens with this with my locked up low one. And again, you can hear it from the horse's mouth if I get her up here. Uh, what she says is that when it comes to shower time, they have to do it differently, meaning that when it's shower time for them, they go shower and all the men stay in their cells and be locked up while they're showering. And then when they're done, then they release the men and the men can go do their thing. So they can't shower in front of or around the other men in loose living situations. That makes sense. So the DOC has to lock up the men, put them in their cells. Then the transgender individuals have to go take their showers and clean up. And then when they're done, see what I'm doing? For safety issues and whatnot, then when they're done, they go back to their cells and then the DOC unlocks their cells and the men can go take a shower after that. Does that make sense? So Washington State's doing that. So I don't know if others, but I hope I've helped. Trey said this: I saw people suffer more because of their life choices. Elderly, disabled, vegans, and religious starved and denied their rights. Absolutely, all the time. You're correct, Jay. Trey, you're completely 100% correct. Happens all the time. I've hit on it on some of these. And I'm outraged the most how gays and trans are treated by the prisons. Absolutely, because I don't know what it is, guys, but the gays and the trans get treated so disrespectfully. On top of some other, topics or subject matter, it's weird. But carry on, Timmy. You were going to say something.
I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. Well, there was I do want to like kind of bring some hope to all of us out here that are
Mm-hmm.
wishing that prison would be a more human. Um, in Mississippi, they're coming close to bringing conjugal visits and family visits back. Now, they may only do it in increments of like 4 hours or something like that for the
Interesting.
married
Okay.
couple to be together or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But they're considering doing that because they have determined that it brings the violence down. So if
Yes.
that does come into play, that passes, that will give some fuel to the fire for some other petitions we've been circulating around here in Texas to have that happen.
Awesome.
So I think that would be wonderful. I hate how they limit visitation.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I don't think that the families should be punished
No,
because their
absolutely not.
loved one is locked up. We haven't committed any crime. We haven't done anything wrong to deserve to be punished
Mm-hmm.
other than to love the individual that is locked up. And some of us have loved ones in there that are innocent.
Right.
And we're not talking one or two people. I mean, by ACLU and the Innocence Project, there's an estimated 35% of all incarcerated individuals that are innocent. So when you
Yes.
put that into play as well, these people's
Wow.
families
Yeah.
do not deserve to be punished. And I
Hell no.
don't understand why we can't have family visits. Like I would
Well.
love to go see my husband with his
Mm-hmm.
son and his ex. I have no problem with that. And his other ex, and us be able to go in there as a family to
Mm-hmm.
be his support system.
Correct.
And I think that women need that while they're in there, and I think kids
Correct.
in the juvenile system need it. I
Correct.
don't understand why we can't do those things. I know that there are people that are really
Well,
need to be in there, but
if I
you know,
right, if I may, Tammy, real quick, what was the purpose and reason or excuse, as some people like to call it, for them to take that program or take that away? What was the point of that? Because I know in Washington State, before you answer, in Washington State, they don't take it away. They do have what is known conjugal visits, and you can do that there in that state. But why did they take it out? Do you know why?
I really don't. I think they did it to do the housing for the guards, because a lot of those cottages and stuff they used to use for those type of purposes are now housing for guards that work at the prisons. That's one of their perks, is
Hmm.
housing, incentive to hire them, and they still can't find people to work. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Right.
like, I don't
Well,
know. I just don't know. We've got to get past this. I don't understand why they don't get that some of the most brilliant people I've met are in prison.
right.
And if they take those good things, the good qualities about them, get them the mental health that they need, and
Hmm.
start programs where they can contribute to society. See, is taking money out of the pockets of those corporations.
Yeah. Good night, Vicky. Hope you get better. Prayers for healing. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Good night, Vicky.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Trey said this real quick. Again, too much prison time, too many people, a true prison state. Yeah, absolutely. And basically, he just proved it right there, ladies and gentlemen, that another saying is, and it's true, it's not just a saying, we are, believe it or not, the number one country for mass incarceration, and it will never get any better. We'll stay number one for a long time. Other countries are not number one. And that should tell you something. It's very sad that we got to stay number one because they look at it from a cash cow scenario than anything else. Absolutely stupid. I guess people's lives are not important, but money is. It's funny. But for the record, and if you guys want to get a hold of me, you can. Here's your option to do that right now. Here's my email on the ticker, as you can see across the screen. Voices from inside out at gmail.com. Again, get a hold of us, me, or whoever you need to get a hold of, and let's work together and do something. If you got a story idea or something along that lines, let me know. We'll work it out and put it up here on the show. Again, my contact information is voices from inside out at gmail.com. All right, guys. I hope you guys really appreciate tonight's show. Again, I'll keep you guys updated on these potential lawsuits. As you guys know, I told you some people in a private conversation that this was going to get sticky. Ta-da! What did I told you this was going to start. I knew this was going to happen. Not everybody agrees with everything that Trump's doing. Again, I'm not trying to get political, but again, keep in mind, guys, it happens all the time, and here's proof. The lawsuits have been filed. Let's see where we go with it. And again, I'll keep you guys updated on what happens here next and all of that. And Chandra got in here. So I will. Thanks. Glad I could make it. Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you as always. And keep doing your work and your due diligence and trying to make a change within our very corrupt system. I appreciate you over there and your work that you do. With that, last but not least, we got Trey's in here. Prison equals this. Absolutely. I wasn't even going to try to say it, but you get it. But anyways, Tammy, do you got a closing argument you want to say before we bounce?
I just want to say, political things aside, personal beliefs aside, every person that gets locked up is a human being for the most part. I will say for the most part. I know there are exceptions to the rules, but I just think that if they're going to incarcerate this many people, then they need to figure out how to manage it. I'm kind of with Ray on that. Too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad. So sad. They need to figure it out. I don't
Absolutely.
think, and we got people walking around like animals that are dressed like animals that identify as a rabbit or identify as a
or
squirrel
cat.
or a dog or a cat,
A cat.
or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? Let them. Are they
Yeah.
hurting you?
Yeah.
Are you still collecting taxes from them at the end of the day? Federal government? Are you still getting their money? Yes. So who gives a rat's patoot? Really?
Yeah,
I mean, I really just don't care. I really don't. That's my take on it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want everybody to be safe.
Cynthia said, good night, everyone. And don't forget to smash the like button. Absolutely. Hit and smash that like button, guys. It helps YouTube to get me out there more and do its thing. Thank you, Cynthia, and every one of you guys being here tonight. We got obviously Cynthia, Chandra, Trey, Vicky, Tammy, the co-host, is in here. We have Texas Mom. We had Bert earlier in here. And again, the boss was in here too. So thank you, boss, for being here. I appreciate you too always. And if I missed somebody, I do apologize. But Destiny, okay, there it is. Destiny, Orphan Annie, I don't want to miss you. Thank you so much, guys, for being in here, and all of you redeeming. I hope I didn't miss anybody. If I did, I apologize. But you know who you are. And again, guys, thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of this great podcast. Again, this podcast is different than others. I don't bring drama, or at least I try not to, anyways, or hype, or misinformation, or false, or what is known as fake news. I bring truth and facts to the table where I believe it's important for you guys to see. All right. And it's very important that you guys understand the difference between the two. There's going to be a lot of people trying to do their thing to make a name of themselves and be a superhero and all that. But remember this, guys, not all superheroes wear capes. All right. So it is what it is. And I'll keep you guys updated on all the process of what happens here with me and this podcast and the drama that you see on my community tab. All of that, it is what it is. They're going to do their thing. And obviously, I'm going to do mine. So that's the freedom we have in America. With that said, Tammy, thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for helping with the podcast and sending me that data. I appreciate you as always. And prayers for you and all what's going on with you. Have a great night, Tammy.
You too. Thank you guys, everybody, for being here, listening to our rhetoric.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, we're going to go ahead and bounce out of here, and we'll see you on Friday night with another open mic night. I think it is. I think we're going to do just a series of open mic nights on Fridays, kind of just get away from the prison stuff sometimes and do something different, so it kind of makes everybody relax for the weekend. But nonetheless, we got something coming up on Friday. Hope to see you there. With that said, I'm your host, Jay. I will see you guys on the next one. Good night, everybody.